For more on what this all means is Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, good morning. It's great to have you back on.
Good morning. It's good to be back.
Yeah, we haven't had you on in a little while. I know you're very busy, but it's good to see you again. Judge Mizell, so she found basically that the CDC had exceeded their, quote, statutory authority. First of all, do you agree with her ruling?
I do. The CDC did go past their authority. Look, let's be very clear. The past two extensions have just happened because they just wanted more time to do a study that they don't want to talk about. That's not the process of rulemaking in the United States. If you're going to come out with an order, you have to give the public an opportunity to understand why. All CDC was doing here was continuing the extension, because they wanted to. They never gave the public a reason. They never gave the airlines a reason. I think the judge's order is appropriate, and I'm glad she made the decision.
Yeah, and the CDC has been studying COVID-19 now for almost 30 months. The CDC, as you said, was originally supposed to end the mask mandate on planes on March 18th. They pushed it back to April 18th, and just recently they pushed it back again to May the 3rd. If the Justice Department does appeal, which they say they're going to do, doesn't that mean that means that COVID's still a threat, at least in the eyes of the Biden administration? So doesn't that mean that Title 42 should then be extended beyond May 23rd? Because, well, they're saying clearly that COVID-19 is still a threat to the American people.
I totally agree. If they're going to do one, they should do both. But let's be very clear. The data is out there. The airline CEOs have said this already, that airline travel is actually not a vector of transmission for COVID-19. Because if airline travel was a vector of transmission, we would have known about it way before today. It would have happened during Omicron. It would have happened during Delta. Airline travel has actually been very, very safe. As somebody who travels a lot on planes, let me tell you firsthand, it is not the mask, which half the people on the plane, it's drooping off their face. The airline companies changed it. The HEPA filters that they put on their aircrafts and the way they vent air through the aircraft, they changed all that. That's what's made it significantly more safe. They would tell you that themselves. It's time for the administration to get real, actually follow the science for once, and stop dealing with this silly mandate on aircrafts.
Yeah, totally agree. And Jen Psaki said yesterday the American people are now just left totally confused, which doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to wear a mask on a plane, by all means, wear a mask on a plane. Nobody's going to stop you. Nobody's going to stop you the second you step out of the cab and walk into the airport terminal. Or you can wear a mask all day, every day if you want. But it's now no longer a mandate, according to this judge, who the left says isn't qualified because she's only been on the bench in this capacity for about a year right now. I want to pivot. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki has been making the rounds. Don't forget, she's going to be joining MSNBC with a new show, we think. That's what we're hearing at some point in the next couple of months. She's still working as press secretary right now, which is a little odd. And she doesn't seem to totally grasp what the Florida parental rights bill is all about. Take a listen.
This is a political wedge issue and an attempt to win a culture war. And they're doing that in a way that is harsh and cruel to a community of kids, especially. I'm like going to get emotional about this issue because it's horrible. But you know, it's like kids who are bullied, and like all these leaders are taking steps to hurt them and hurt their lives and hurt their families.
Okay, so that was Jen Psaki on a podcast a day ago, Congressman. The bill, the facts of the bill, it states that teachers between kindergarten and third grade can't talk about sexual identity or gender orientation with kids in public schools. The House passed this in Florida. The Senate then passed it. Then Ron DeSantis signed it into law. It's got over 60% approval by the people, the good people down there in the state of Florida. What do you make of comments like that from the White House press secretary?
Jen Psaki needs to save her tears for the 13 men and women who died under Joe Biden's failed leadership in Afghanistan. She needs to save her tears for the young girls who are being raped due to Joe Biden's reckless immigration policies. Because, yes, young girls are being raped as they're being trafficked into the United States. She should save her tears for them. When it comes to the Florida parental rights bill, dealing specifically with gender identity and sexual orientation, in what world is it okay to talk to an 8-year-old about their sexual identity? That's crazy to me that we're even having this conversation. I have 3 sons. There is no way I would want any teacher talking to any one of my sons when they were in the 3rd grade about their gender identity, about their sexual orientation. It is incomprehensible But this is proof positive of where the radical left has gone.
Yeah.
They would rather kids be indoctrinated on this stuff, but they have no problem with young girls being raped as they're being trafficked into the United States.
Yeah, such a good point. She also doesn't mention that sex ed in the state of Florida starts in either 5th or 6th grade, depending on where you live. So why people want to talk about this kind of thing with 5-year-olds makes absolutely no sense to me. Congressman Byron Donalds, great to have you back on. Look forward to seeing you again. Thanks again.
Anytime.